Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. If you are, I'd love it if you'd subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a recap. This is going to be a pregnancy recap / third trimester recap. I didn't do like a recap of my first trimester or second. I just kind of did the video when I answered some questions that you guys had for me and everything like that. So in today's video, I just kind of want to go over, I would say everything, but it's like everything I can remember so far. So yeah, I want to go over everything that I can remember that I've experienced, go over some things that I feel like would be helpful or beneficial to touch on, and then answer some questions that I got on Instagram as well. I don't know the timeline of this video. Like, I'm not sure when the video is going live. I don't know if it's gonna go up before the baby's hair or after she's hair, or like on the day that I'm like going into labor. I'm not really sure. There's one specific thing that I'm gonna touch on in this video that I'm in a place now where I'm okay to talk about it without feeling like a flood of different emotions, so that's good. But I don't think that I could have made this video any sooner, or like while I was going through this, or whatever the case is. So first thing I'm going to touch on is my first trimester, and I remember some of it because I did document that for like my own personal reasons, and I have those videos. I haven't done anything with them yet, but I think I do want to do something with them and like hold on to the memories and stuff like that, along with some other footage that I have, but that's another story for another day. So I will say that my early signs or symptoms that made me feel like, okay, I need to take a pregnancy test, my appetite changed completely. Like, I felt like I wasn't eating as much. Things that I love to eat, I didn't really have a taste for. I didn't have a taste for anything really. So that was the first thing. I was having like indigestion and heartburn, and I know that that's like super early, which is funny because like as I progressed in my pregnancy, I didn't really have a lot of that, but I did have that, which is one of the reasons why I felt like I needed to take the test. And I'll tell you right now, your boobs are going to be a huge giveaway for you if you're pregnant or not, because yes, you might have like a tenderness or sensitive boobs when you're close to your time, you know, your menstrual cycle or whatever, but I'm telling you, the sensitivity that you feel when you're pregnant in your boobs, it's like a whole different game. It's like completely different. They are so, I don't even want to say fragile, but they're so tender, and it's like a tenderness you've never experienced before. So sensitive to the touch. Like, if I brush my hand against my chest too hard, it hurt. Like, it was painful, like almost excruciating pain, and I feel like I have a high pain tolerance. So I definitely think that's going to be a huge giveaway. They're also going to feel a lot heavier, at least they did for me. My first trimester, I didn't have too much nausea. I did experience a little bit, and I threw up twice, but I didn't really have like an unbearable amount, I would say. Definitely was tired. I definitely was tired, always needed an afternoon nap, and we're back at that stage again, but we'll get to that. The nausea for me, I definitely recommend some ginger ale. Some good old ginger ale will help you. That's pretty much all I did, because like I said, I didn't experience it to like an extreme amount, so that kind of worked for me. As far as cravings, honestly, I didn't really have any cravings. I still don't have any like intense pregnancy cravings. I don't know. I will say in my first trimester, I was definitely on like a Fanta kick, like the soda, the orange soda. I really like that. I definitely did, you know, kind of pull myself back off of it for a while, because I'm not a big juice person. I pretty much only drink water and coffee, and occasionally I will drink like pop, like Sprite or Coke or whatever. And I was drinking at least 2 cans of Fanta every day for a really long time. At one point my sister bought me a whole case of them, and I was like, okay, after this case is finished, I'm cutting myself off. And that's what I did. I definitely had food aversions. Like I said, no cravings, but definitely aversions. I was the type of person that ate a salad for lunch every day. I had a huge aversion to lettuce. It was not fun because I couldn't have salads anymore. It did go away after a while, but it was rough. No aversions to raw meat, so I was still able to cook pretty much my whole pregnancy. Thank God. I had no taste for coffee, and as someone who loves caffeine, still loves caffeine, I have coffee pretty much every single day, and I had cut it cold turkey because the taste of it was just funny to me, and that definitely affected me because I was having headaches. No, it wasn't anything intense or crazy or whatever, but once I brought it up to my OB, she let me know that it's probably because I just cut my caffeine like that, coming from someone who had it every single day. And she did let me know, you know, it's okay to have a little bit of caffeine here and there. If you are pregnant or, you know, expecting or hoping to get pregnant, you're allowed to have 200 milligrams of caffeine a day, but the taste of it just was not hitting for me. And then also on that note, if you're the type of person who likes to go out and order your coffee, make sure you adjust it so that you fit into that, you know, what is that, measurement or whatever. I know some people didn't know about it and haven't changed anything and whatever, and you know, of course their kids are fine and everything like that, but just putting that out there if you wanted to know that. So back to the whole not having an appetite thing, I had to basically find ways to make myself eat. I ate because I needed to, not because I wanted to, if that makes sense. And I had Suppligent. If you're Jamaican or from the Caribbean, then you might know what I'm talking about. It's basically like a meal replacement type of thing. I'm sure there are other drinks that can do the same thing. I really just did not like the taste of food. Your mouth is going to feel funny and taste funny. It's almost like your spit or your mouth or something is just like like, I don't know how to explain it, but your food is just not gonna hit the same for a while. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The thing that I experienced very early on in my pregnancy was discomfort when sleeping. A lot of people get their pregnancy pillows later in their pregnancy, and I will say I got mine in my first trimester. It definitely was a game changer for me. I will say, as I was about midway in my second trimester to third trimester, I haven't used it. Literally, I wrapped it up, put it back in the bag, and it's in my closet because it worked for me when I needed it at the time, and then after that it was kind of like, okay, this doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. I'd rather just like sleep without it, just on the bed, or just literally just use Kevin as a pillow. So that's pretty much what I did. So it definitely did work. I would recommend it, and I know for some people it's an essential right up until their third trimester. So definitely recommend checking that out if you need one, or if you feel like it'll help you. An adjustment that I had to come to terms with once I became pregnant was the skincare changes that I would have to make, because pretty much I was like really on a skincare high for a very long time, and then I found out I was pregnant, and when you're pregnant you cannot use retinol, and pretty much everything in my routine had retinol. I was also using chemical sunscreens, which is also a no-no when you're pregnant. So literally my whole skincare routine had to go. Like everything I was using I couldn't use anymore, like the Dr. Dennis Gross pads, which I love, and those help a lot with texture. Couldn't use those anymore. I was also using a serum from them and an eye cream. Couldn't use those anymore because those had retinol. I was also using some stuff from Derma-E. Couldn't use those anymore. So I just stuck with my Dermalogica cleanser and pre-cleanse. The pre-cleanse was essential because my skin was very sensitive and I was having a reaction to my makeup wipes, so I needed the oil-based pre-cleanse to get my makeup off. I definitely will say I told myself that I wanted to keep myself looking put together, and I think I did pretty well at that throughout my pregnancy. Like I didn't just want to look how I feel all the time, and I know that it's easy to do. So if that's how you have to go about it, then fine. I just didn't want to do that for myself personally, and on the days where I made that effort to do my makeup and do my hair and, you know, look good, it definitely helped me to feel amazing. So, you know, you can give that a try if you like to. But yeah, your skin definitely changes. Not everybody gets like super sensitive skin or whatever. You know, some people say you have that glow. Watch out for dryness, because I definitely experienced that. Like not just on the belly, like yes, you moisturize the bump and everything, but just your body in general. I know a lot of people have extreme chapped lips during pregnancy. I experienced it for a little while. It wasn't extreme, but I definitely was having like a little moment there. Exfoliate, moisturize, keep up with it. Definitely experienced a lot of dryness on the breast as well. I don't know, I'm telling you, I feel like the part of my body that has changed the most throughout this whole journey is definitely the boob area. Like I was experiencing so much dryness. It was like peeling, flaking, like doing all these weird things, and I just had to make sure I kept moisturizing, kept exfoliating, all that stuff. Baby Aquaphor was my thing, okay? I loaded up on that after my shower. Also used shea butter pretty much the whole time. So yeah, something that I have experienced a lot throughout this pregnancy is night sweats. I know a lot of people talk about night sweats after you deliver, but girl, it needs to be talked about while you're pregnant, because I've experienced that so much. At first I was experiencing like cold shivers. Like the first couple weeks after finding out, I was always cold, and then after that it was like, all right, yeah, you had your fun, now your body is just gonna be burning up, and I am always hot. The doctor did do like blood work to see if anything was off with like thyroid or anything like that. Everything was fine. So it is what it is. But the night sweats need to be talked about, not just postpartum but during the process as well. Okay, so for me, for the second trimester, I will say they are right. When everybody says that, you know, your energy picks back up, they're right. I definitely had a lot more energy in the second trimester. Also was able to get back into drinking a little bit of coffee, which was nice. Love that for me. But yeah, the second trimester was pretty good. That's when I did majority of the things that I wanted to do, and I'm happy I did it that way. Like that's when I started nesting for real and started working on the nursery and getting things organized and clean and everything like that. And I'm so happy I did it that way. I know a lot of people wait until much later, but I don't have the energy right now. Like I couldn't imagine nesting now, or like planning or hoping to have a baby shower now. My social battery is already very low. Like that's just my personality. So at this point, no. I think the second trimester for me, it went by so fast, to be honest. I was always hungry. I feel like I'm still in that phase to where like I'm always hungry. Like I will eat and my stomach just feels like a pit. Still no real cravings for the most part. If I'm just in the mood for something, I'll go get it. It's not like, oh my god, I need this, or the world is ending, or anything like that. I really haven't had any craving. Late second trimester is when you start to get a little bit winded and easily tired and everything like that. Like late, really late / you know, early third trimester, you know, your bump is growing, it's getting bigger, things are a little bit more difficult, like putting on your shoes, putting on your socks, lotioning your feet, all those things. So that's when you get like easily winded going up a couple flights of stairs or something. Another thing that people don't really touch on, and well, I've seen posts about it like jokingly on Instagram, don't know if people have touched on it in their videos, but it's the whole concept of like blind shaving or whatever. Now I know that waxing is a big thing nowadays, so people probably just go get waxed, or they were already doing it so they just continue doing it up until whenever, or whatever the case is. Personally for me, I'm a shaving type of girl, not a waxing type of girl. I tried it once, it was alright, but you know, yeah, I don't know, I feel like it might have been the place that I went to, so I'm definitely not opposed to trying it again, but I haven't yet, and so I'm just a shaving type of girl. And I have been doing that since, like bump or no bump, it's gonna get done. And it's, I know people are like, you can ask your partner, you can do whatever, or it's really not important. Honestly, you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. It's just a personal preference for me. I've always been that way with body hair. I personally don't want it. So it's gotta go. I just do it, and you just feel it out. Basically, if you know your body, just feel it out and take your time, it'll get done. And that's that. Third trimester, you definitely are gonna be experiencing some Braxton Hicks. If you don't know what those are, they're like fake contractions, if you will. So yeah, you're definitely gonna experience some of that. You might experience some back pain. I really haven't had too many issues with back pain. Definitely have had a lot of leg cramping in my sleep. I cannot stay on one side for too long. I need to switch sides throughout the night, which is kind of annoying because you're already, you know, uncomfortable because your midsection is so heavy, so you're twisting and turning a lot, which means that you don't get a lot of sleep. And it's unfortunate because you're extremely tired and not getting enough sleep, which can make you like very miserable, and just, yeah, it's not a good combination. So there's that. And then also lightning crotch. If you've never heard of it, if you've never heard of lightning crotch, or if you're not there yet, just know it's coming. Okay, so that's basically when the baby starts to move lower and you feel almost like a quickening in that area. It's very like sharp and quick, like lightning basically, and it happens at the most inconvenient times when you would prefer it not to happen. Before, I would always say, oh, I was tired a lot and everything like that in the first trimester. No, I use the word fatigue because I feel like it needs to be stressed that it's a lot more intense for me. The discomfort, like I mentioned, and the lack of sleep does not help, so you get tired throughout the day very easily, and I feel like I have to have a nap, and if I don't have a nap, I'm very cranky, and then I'm not getting much sleep at night. So then it's just a cycle of like not getting enough sleep, always feeling tired, always feeling drained, plus the fact that you're always hungry. You go from being hungry to being hangry in like 5 minutes tops. So make sure you have snacks with you if you're not at home where you can get a meal, or out and want to get a meal. Make sure you have snacks. The next couple things I wanted to touch on, like I said, they're not necessarily tied to a specific trimester, but just the journey in general. The first thing is going to be supplements, and I want to say make sure that you are keeping up with your supplement intake and everything like that. So your vitamins, prenatals, if you're planning to get pregnant, or even if you're not necessarily planning to, but you know, just your daily multivitamins. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself in terms of your body and giving it the nutrients that it needs to someday be able to embark on this journey as smoothly as possible, or like without as much interference, if you want to say that. So why I mentioned that is because personally I was on vitamins before. I was taking the vitamins from Care Of, and I wasn't always on those, but I'm glad I started when I did. And if I'd started a little bit earlier, it probably wouldn't even be necessary for me. Of course, when you have blood work done, they check for certain things, so my vitamin D was extremely low, and they prescribed me like a stronger vitamin D, not like the one you can get in the store. The one that they prescribed me, I was only supposed to take 1 tablet per week for 12 weeks. So that should tell you how intense that was if I'm only supposed to take 1 tablet for the whole week. And then after I was done with that for the 12 weeks, they said I could go to an over-the-counter vitamin D. Second thing is iron. Now, when I got my vitamins from Care Of, there was iron in there as well, and so I was taking that. But like I said, if I'd started a little bit sooner, it probably would have been amazing, but I'm still happy that I did start when I did. So at first, when they did my blood work and everything, they told me that, you know, my iron is just a little bit low, but not low enough for them to say, okay, you need to be put on medication for this. It was just like a include more red meat, include more greens. And so I was doing everything they recommended, but by the time they did the next check, it was significantly lower, which I don't even know how, but it was significantly lower despite me doing all those things. And so I had to be prescribed iron tablets. And for the iron, it was over the counter, but you know, usually you take 1 per day. I have to take 2 every day. At the time of filming this video, I'm 36 weeks going 37 weeks, and I had another complete blood count done, and they said that it's going up. Now, they didn't tell me the number, they just said it's going up, so just continue doing what I'm doing. So that's pretty good. So besides those 2, I'm taking regular prenatals, and then I am also taking baby aspirin to prevent preeclampsia, which so far so good. So I'm really happy about that because I just really don't want that. So the next one I'm going to touch on is something that I feel like a lot of people don't really mention, and it is the emotional changes that you go through when you are pregnant. I feel like there's so much emphasis placed on the physical changes that your body goes through, and rightfully so, but the emotional changes I feel like are so much more intense. Personally, for me, I just feel like I've been on an emotional roller coaster this whole time. Like, you're really up and then you're really down, and then some days you're just really just like there and everything is just blah. it's really just all over the place. I feel like I cannot get a really good grip of my emotions. Everything is just so intense all the time, and I'm naturally the type of person where my personality just makes me feel everything so deeply, and this does not help that situation. Personally, I just feel like the emotional changes for me are they're just more of an adjustment for me personally than the physical changes. I feel like because the physical changes, I knew they were coming. Like, I've seen pregnant women. I know what comes with it. I know you have a bump. I know you have stretch marks. I know your boobs grow. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things I expected. I never could have anticipated how many emotional changes you could have experienced on this journey. Like, I don't think anything could have prepared me for that. I don't think anything could have prepared me for that. And so, you know, and I know that after you give birth, your emotions are still out of whack for a good while. So it's gonna be an even longer journey than the 9 months. Well, technically it's longer than 9 months regardless, but you get the point. And the last topic that I want to touch on before I jump into the Instagram questions is the fact that, you know, most people talk about how you have possibly 2 or 3 ultrasounds your entire pregnancy. I believe I had the 2. At the 3rd one is probably when they decided that I needed to come back every single week for a follow-up ultrasound. It would be 2 weeks of just regular ultrasounds just to check fluid, movement, all that stuff, and then at the 3rd week it would be a growth appointment. It was like such a shock to me because reason why they decided that I needed to come back every week was because they couldn't determine if I was just making a small baby or if there was a problem. They have the percentile like ranges that they put the babies in based on their growth and everything, and it was like, okay, she's normal but on the smaller side of normal. And so because of that, they wanted to continue to monitor her and monitor her growth, see if everything was going well and everything like that. And so they told me I had to come back every single week. Now, based on the regular ultrasounds that I would have, everything looked fine. Like, the fluid was good, her movement was amazing, literally practice breathing, the whole 9. Whenever I would go to my ultrasounds, they would be done super fast because she would do everything and everything looked good, but she was still measuring on the smaller side, but not like small to where they could necessarily say, okay, this is a case of IUGR, but they did put it on my paperwork. So that's the thing, they never outrightly said it to me like, okay, we think that this is the issue, but they put it on my documents. And I have the app so I can check my results and stuff whenever they upload stuff after like an ultrasound or just a regular appointment or whatever. So it was on there that it was like a suspected case of IUGR, but no one ever actually said that to me verbally. I feel like if that's the case, or if they feel like that's the case, I would prefer them to just say it instead of saying, you know, instead of making it seem like, okay, everything's fine. But at the same time, I wasn't really worried because I was like, if everything looks good, then I know she's okay. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where it just kind of lingers in the back of your mind and it causes a little bit of discomfort and everything. Now, if you don't know what IUGR is, it's basically intrauterine growth restrictions. That's just not something you want to think about. You guys can Google more on that and everything, but that's basically what it is. And I watch a lot of moms and mom-to-be's here on YouTube, and it's such a touchy subject. I don't know, I feel like on one hand, when your baby's measuring way ahead, they can make you feel like, okay, it's kind of a you thing, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, all right, you're at risk for gestational diabetes, or you do have gestational diabetes and your baby's measuring way too big and da 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 da, and they can make you feel like crap for that part of it, which I have seen videos on that. But then also when your baby's measuring small, they can then think your baby's measuring too small, and if you are diagnosed with IUGR, it's also one of those things that take an emotional toll on you, because from one video I watched, her take on it is, you know, when moms give birth, that's when they start to worry insanely, because it's just like, okay, now your baby is physically out, you know, you have to protect them, and you worry constantly, and you know, are they gonna be okay, whatever. And so a lot of moms find, you know, just relief and comfort knowing that, okay, my baby is protected inside this bump and everything. You know, I'm doing everything right to make sure that they're okay and they're doing well while they're in here. But when you get that diagnosis and it's kind of like, okay, your baby's not doing well in there, then it's like, damn, you kind of failed. That's one person's take on it. And when she said that, I was like, that is a lot to take in. I felt so terrible watching her say that. I was like, I wish I could hug her through the screen. No, I won't say I necessarily felt like that. One, because there's nothing to confirm that that was my diagnosis. It was just like they suspected that it was. But every week I went back for my ultrasound and everything was looking perfect. So eventually they said the baby is measuring at her gestational age. So she's measuring fine. She's just on the smaller side. So there's that. And like I said, I felt like if something was wrong, I would be able to tell. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you know, I'm just all high and mighty like that. But throughout this journey, I have felt like if it's one thing she has done is given me reassurance on so many things. As long as she's measuring fine and, you know, she's getting all the nutrients that she needs, that's enough for me. The first question I got on my Instagram, it says, how'd you feel when you first found out? I may have touched on this before in the first video I did, but I was really excited when I first found out. So there's that. There's not much to say besides excitement and joy. What's been different each trimester? I guess to sum it up, first trimester, not much of an appetite, some nausea and food aversions. And then second trimester, some of those aversions went away, and then also got some energy back, which was great, and just felt really good. And then third trimester is the extreme fatigue, definitely always hungry, and then the discomfort, sleeping because you're tossing and turning, and then, you know, the leg cramps and stuff that also contribute to the lack of sleep. What was your favorite and least favorite parts of the experience? So my least favorite part, I can't get a grip on my emotions, and that's why I'm saying, like, you know, it's a lot emotionally, not because, you know, I'm necessarily down in the dumps, because I'm not. The favorite part, I would definitely say, is seeing your baby, because even though the whole having an ultrasound every week for something that could possibly not be that great, you know, it was nice going to my ultrasounds every week, because then I get to see my baby's face every week. That's a big part of the reassurance that I was touching on, when you feel your baby move. So there's that. And then also, of course, the nesting process, like the actual sorting and organizing the clothes, getting the bottles ready, getting the car seat, the stroller, everything set up for the baby's arrival. How important do you think it is to have a supportive partner during and after? 110%. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have that support, it can make this journey such a drag. And I can't imagine going through something like this, because, you know, I think I've had like a fairly, I'm not gonna say easy, but it's like, I feel like I've had a fairly comfortable journey personally. But if I was supposed to be in someone else's shoes where their journey hasn't been the smoothest, I don't know what I would do if that was the case and I didn't have a supportive partner. I feel like besides the physical things, like I mentioned, like needing help to put on your shoes and lotion your feet and rub your back and do all that stuff, like, yeah, that's great as well. But you also need someone that you can, you know, let them know what's going on with you, or even if you don't know what's going on with you emotionally, just have someone there to support you through that. Like, that is a huge help. So I think that, I'm not gonna say, oh, don't get pregnant if you don't have that type of support, because not everybody is in that situation. You know, things happen, life happens, people change, different things like that. It's quite unfortunate, but I'm gonna say that I really think it's so important, and I wish that everyone had that. afterwards you're gonna need that support when your body is going through so much because of postpartum. Your emotions are still all over the place because of postpartum. You now have a baby in the picture, all these things. You definitely need the support. How did your third trimester compare to the second and first? So I also feel like I touched on that a little bit, but yeah, I definitely think that in my third trimester is when I don't want to say this is the most emotional trimester, because I definitely think the first trimester kind of took the cake on that one. But the third trimester for me is when I have the least amount of energy. I don't really want to do much. All I want to do is eat and sleep and just wait for my baby to get here. I feel like I'm less of a people person, even though I'm trying not to let that be the case. Like, I'm trying to make time for everyone before my baby, you know, arrives, because I just know myself. I'm gonna go into hibernation. I'm going to just get in my little cocoon and not talk to anybody. So but yeah, I just feel like my social meter is so low these days. I just don't want to be around people. I kind of want my own space more than anything. And then it says, how do the kicks feel? Honestly, I don't really know exactly how to describe them. Depending on what the baby's doing, sometimes it feels like it's a slight tickle, sometimes it feels really sharp, like a real jab, and then other times it just feels like different, like comfort that you've never experienced before, but it just feels so soothing. If you happen to want kids and hope to get pregnant someday, then you'll understand that you don't necessarily know how to describe the kicks, but they just, it's like a feel-good thing, but you can't tell somebody who's never experienced it what it feels like. Are you nervous that it's coming to that time? Oh, she said moment, but regardless, I'm honestly not nervous. I've gotten this question so many times, I feel like, in the past couple weeks. I'm just very excited. I definitely think that closer to the time, like when I'm actually in labor or whatever, I am gonna be anxious, but I still feel like it's gonna be more of like an anxious excited rather than an anxious nervous type of feeling. But I don't know for sure. That's just what I'm thinking. But yeah, no nerves just yet, so that's good. Just gonna ride out with that and hope for the best. That's it, guys. Hopefully this video touched on, you know, a little bit of everything. I felt like I tried to get everything I could remember in the video. If there's anything that I didn't touch on that you guys would like to ask, feel free to leave it in the comments below and I'll definitely respond to you guys. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram if you need to DM me something that you don't want to leave in the comments. That's okay as well. But yeah, that is a recap of my journey thus far. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me some comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next upload.